Well, in another example of a once legitimately elected official turned MAGA mouthpiece, Senator Mike Lee stepped up to the plate yesterday to take a swing at President Biden and whiffed mightily, as you'll see in the great bogus tweet and follow-up video that we're about to show you. But before we break down the mechanics of his strikeout, let's have a look at the player and his stats. Mike Lee began his national political career as a vehement anti-Trump Republican of principle.
It's occurred to me on countless occasions today that if anyone spoke to my wife or my daughter or my mother or any of my 5 sisters the way Mr. Trump has spoken to women, I wouldn't hire that person. I wouldn't hire that person, wouldn't want to be associated with that person. And I certainly don't think I'd feel comfortable hiring that person to be the leader of the free world.
And yes, while there is some nobility in vowing not to hire a man like Trump, what does it say about you? Who would beg to work for a man like Trump? Well, your wife, your mother, your daughter, and all 5 of your sisters must be beaming with pride at the courage of your convictions. Hey, maybe he's not so noble after all. Maybe Mike Lee will actually do or say whatever works to gain acceptance with his fellow MAGA cultists. After all, what kind of a man goes from publicly and vocally denying Trump's nomination at the 2016 convention to morphing into a grinning MAGA suck-up? Well, it would be the kind of man who once politicized the women in his life only to betray their honor by joining the family that actually shares his core values.
Jonathan Isaac Hernandez Ramirez.
I can't believe I'm here with all these great guys. Honey, look, it's him. He probably had sex with a minor. Him, handsome like his dad. Well, he just proved yesterday that his shameless reach for attention clearly exceeds his grasp of reality. In the politically motivated and factually false tweet that you're about to see, along with the great video that completely destroys its claim, Mike Lee further exposes his venal, craven motivations to curry favor from his MAGA overlords. Now, mind you, this is a sitting U.S. senator intentionally misleading public discourse, and badly, I might add. Well, for starters, the original tweet, it comes from this twit.
By the way, Senator Joe McCarthy was right.
You know, here's the thing, Monica Crowley, she's like Mike Johnson, Kevin Roberts, John McAtee, that Project 2025 whack job. They're all dangerous because unlike MTG and Matt Gaetz, you can't tell they're nuts just by looking at them. Although that really doesn't matter these days. Well, here's the tweet in question, and we call out their BS right after, on video, from Air Force One, behind sunglasses. Monica Crowley posts, breaking, Biden is reportedly having a medical emergency aboard Air Force One. Minutes later, Mike Lee reposts, if Biden is having a medical emergency at this moment on board Air Force One or otherwise, that raises a lot of questions. Minutes later, he reposts, does anyone else find the timing of this highly suspicious? Now, really, anyone can say if an untrue thing is somehow true. It sure raises a lot of questions. Why, you could say that if once anti-Trump activist Mike Lee is actually working undercover to expose the MAGA movement, that raises a lot of questions. But it's kind of like saying smart people are saying. It's linguistic subterfuge. And as the saying goes, a picture's worth 1,000 words, so let's take a look at the president right before the medical emergency that never happened because despite Monica Crowley and Mike Lee's best efforts, the president had already landed and was headed home. Monica and Mike, before you put the jerk into knee-jerk again, please remember, time waits for no tweet. Medical emergency, huh? Well, it does raise a lot of questions. But in the meantime, please enjoy the silence of the truth as Biden walks the walk. Well, Republicans are now trying to capitalize on Democratic hysteria with misinformation, which is why Democrats really need to get it together and end their freakout. They need to get back to the business of winning the election. Well, let's start today by calling them out one by one. Mike Lee. We'll expose each falsehood diligently, because this isn't about Biden and Trump, it's about democracy and freedom. And from here on in, every day, in every way, we need to expose those who would swap your nation's legacy, your family's history, for a totalitarian future. We need to focus on each news story and make each one personal. It's our team versus their team. It's game time. We have a short window, we have platforms like this, and God willing, we have the will to identify the liars and Luddites in government and root them out before they round us up.